Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a former Boeing 737 pilot, and welcome back to a Boeing 737, and not anyone, it is the MAX. To be exact, the iFly 737 MAX that's just released in an experimental version for Flight Simulator 2024. Today we're going to take it from Orlando over to Providence, Rhode Island, which has just been released by IndyBuilds, so thank you very much for providing the scenery for today's video. Last but not least, a word from today's sponsor, Say Intentions AI. If you're looking for an ATC add-on and one that's not just capable of your standard IFR A to B flight, but also things like VFR, like cabin crew simulations, or like data link, then be sure to check them out using the link in the video description below. And now, let's get straight into it. We're going to start, as always, by reviewing our flight plan. And this is what it looks like. So we're going from Orlando along the east coast all the way up to Providence. The significant weather chart is looking quite okay. There is an area of occasional CB up to level 410 marked in the area over here. But apart from that, we are looking at good conditions. And look at that, we should even have some lovely tailwind today. In terms of the weather, let's ignore those signals here for a moment, because the sim just doesn't depict them realistically. Orlando has very good weather overall, and now our destination Rhode Island has a couple of gusts over there. Apart from that, good weather conditions. The same goes for our destination, Boston Logan, which is good as well. So with that in mind, an on-time departure is going to mean an on-time arrival, and we do have no limiting weights anywhere. We start on level 370, later on go to level 390, and in terms of the fuel situation, our minimum is 16.5, and well, we don't really need any more than that. So 16.5, well, let's take a little bit extra here just in case we need to fly a bit faster or perhaps a little bit lower. Let's make it 17,000 pounds, and that's all we're gonna need. Well, and with that in mind, let's go straight into the flight deck. Man, it's been a while since we've seen something as ancient as this, and that is absolutely no insult towards iFly. Much rather, this is just my honest opinion on the Boeing cockpit. No, iFly have done a pretty good job modeling it. Few things here and there, like the windows, in my opinion, are not 100% correctly shaped. But apart from that, it's a very, very well done flight deck. Alright, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and power it up. And we're going to do, as always, from standing in the back over there. So number one, the battery is going to come on. We don't have an external power available over here, so we will have to start the APU. So let's go down here. We're going to do the fire loop test, the fire test itself, and then we can also test the extinguishers. All looking good, so APU start, then on. Now you will notice that you don't have an EGT gauge in the 737 MAX anymore, so the only way we can find out that our APU is running is by actually just looking over here and seeing the APU gen off bus light illuminating once the APU start is actually complete. In the meantime, let's take a little seat over here and let's go ahead and start up our electronic flight bag. Now, we're going to start down here on the performance and payload page, going into weight and balance, and we are going to fill all this stuff out. Now, I'm completely honest with you, that's a little bit too much typing for my taste. So the way we can do this easier is just to go down here, read MSFS data, ta-da, and then we can perhaps change that. So total, we're looking at 175 passengers today. That's automatically going to adjust the weights down here. Zero fuel 148.5 is a little bit too much. So we should be looking at 133.3 in total. So let's go ahead and remove all that cargo down here. Let's make that 0 and 0. See what we get, 134.8. So that's already heavier than our flight plan. Very interesting. Okay, so a little bit fewer passengers. Let's make it 165. All right, and then we can maybe insert 1,000 pounds in the forward hold. And that's it already. Very good. Now in terms of the fuel, let's go down here. Total fuel, we said we wanted 17,000 pounds. Taxi out fuel is going to be 300, and the trip fuel is going to be 11,500. Like this. And now we can do set payload and set fuel, please. So why do we get... That should only come on when the IRS is aligned, so that's a bug there. But the APU is available, so that's something to start with. Let's go ahead and turn that on. And now at least we do have electrical power. So with that done and with the aircraft loaded, let's go ahead and continue with our setup procedure. So that's going to be emergency light on, attendant call button, test it, then let's test the takeoff configuration warning. Like that, all looking good. So, cargo fire extinguisher looking good. Down here everything is set, then let's move up. Mach overspeed test is looking good. Flight recorder test is looking good. Stall warning test. That should not work just yet. Within the first 4 minutes or something, it should just start to shake the control column a bit, then immediately stop again, but that's a known bug with the aircraft. Alright, so ELT is armed and the elevator jam landing assist is off. Perfect, then we can take a seat. So first thing we gotta do when we take a seat is to ensure that our weather radar is not operative, because that could potentially harm some of the people in the terminal. That's why I like to always click on the train over here. Oxygen test. Yeah, come on. It's okay now. Thank you. Alright, oxygen test is good. 17,000 pounds of fuel are on board the aircraft. And that's how we like it. Well then, let's go right down into the FMS. For that, we do have our flight plan over here. So, FMC 737-8.2, 28K engine, nav database is up to date. Then we are going to use the GPS position for today's flight. And, well, I suppose we can do the flight plan request. On the other end side, you could just type it in manually as well. Both is going to work. Well, while we're waiting for our flight plan uplinks to arrive, let's go ahead and... Oh, here it is already. That was quick. Well, then we don't need to listen to the ATIS just yet, but let's continue. So, well, yep. Southwest, what is it? 2976. What's happened there? Southwest 2976, that's looking better. Alright, departing off runway 17 right, and we've got the Phase 3 departure via transition. And then for arrival in Providence, we are probably going to fly an ILS approach runway 23. We have the Jordan 2 arrival from Jordan. And that's it. Alright, shoot, activate, let's have a look. So, via Quebec, 87 J-Rose, direct Johar, Quebec 109 defense. Very interesting way to spell this. Okay, direct Sword, Quebec 97 ZJ, Quebec 167 Orca, direct Jordan for the Jordan 2 arrival. And that's what we have. 992 miles versus 1004 miles. That is absolutely fine. Alright, cool. Then let's go on to the performance init page. So, extra fuel, that's going to be 4.2. Zero fuel weight estimated as 133.4. Flight level 370. So, cruise winds. What do we got down here? 290 at 34. ISI deviation, well, top of climb temperature is going to be minus 51. Here we go. So, takeoff page 1515 is okay with me. Then let's go down to the Lex page and let's go ahead and actually find our departure chart. So for that, we'll go right back onto the terminal charts over here. Departing KMCO. Come on. KMCO. Arriving KPVD. And you can search all of those. Same over here, please. Alright, and now for the alternates, I'm gonna fill Boston in over here, and then I'll also fill JFK. So, JFK and Boston. Alright, cool. Complete that. So, for Orlando, we're looking at the general airport chart. That'd be this one. Add to clip. And while we've got this open, let's zoom in a bit. So, ATIS 120.525. And 121.5. And then for the frequencies, we'll need the clearance on 134.7 and then probably east ground 1264, but we'll see about that. 1347, that's the important one at first. Alright, cool. So that thing is already pinned. Then let's go ahead and have a look if we can find the parking chart as well. Here you go, airside 1 and 3 or 2 and 4. I think it's 2 and 4. No, it's the other one. Of course it is. Here we go. Now for our departures. Looking at the Phase 3 on-off departure. And that's this one. So let's have a look down here. Departing, heading 185, then heading 154 towards KB, above 1500, and then on the heading of 140. So let's have a look at this. So straight ahead, intercept 154 to KP, and then heading 140. Very good. So, and thereafter you continue Buffy, Faith, however you pronounce that. Let's have a look. So, Buffy, Faith above 14, MD Bok, however you pronounce that, above 14, Bikini, Femen, and Viab. And that's what we've got, alright. Cool, well we've got it open, let's see, off runway 17, top altitude 7000. Might as well set that now already, because we'll have to anyway. Alright, perfect. So apart from that, VNAV page 250 below 10,000, flight level 370, and that's all we've got for the time being. So for the fixed page, we'll just do KMCO and a 25-mile ring around that one, and that's it. Cool. So that's our initial FMC setup completed. So let's continue on the overhead panel. So cross feed open, bright dim, cross feed close, bright off. Very good. So up here everything comes on, seatbelts can come on. That's looking good, hydraulics on. Let's see, what's the temperatures? Yeah, getting too hot, that much is for sure. Alright, so landing field elevation, let's see. 0. I like it. That's something even I can do. So flight directors on. Let's see, runway heading probably 17 something. Was it 18 something? Let's go complete and airport. So 185. Here we go, and the same into the courses. .185, looking good. So, light test. Is looking good. Don't have a QNH on board just yet, but that's fine. Fuel used reset. Now let's have a look. Systems. Hydraulic quantity is fine, engine oil quantity is fine, and auto. Very good. Alright, cool. So radios are set. We don't need anything down here, so let's just tune some random VOR. Do we have anything nearby? At least not on the chart. That's fine. I just don't want those ILS indications on my displays. It looks much cleaner this way, doesn't it? So VHF 1, 2, you can bring up the PA and you can bring all of that onto the speakers. Squawk 2000, TCAS above, number 1 is correct, and transponder and auto is okay. Well, actually it should be on standby for the time being, without off selected. Alright, so that's quite okay, data is active, everything's set, very good. So with that, we at least have our flight deck inspection completed, so let's go ahead and listen to the ATIS.
E7 left. Advise on initial contact, you have information hotel. Orlando International Airport, information hotel. 1753 Zulu. Wind 115 at 19 gusting 28. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, few cumulonimbus at 3200 feet. Scattered at 4400 feet. Scattered at 5000 feet. Broken at 5000 feet. Temperature 31. Dew point 23. Altimeter 3010. Density altitude 1800 feet. Arriving runways 18 left, 17 right, 17 left.
So, altimeter 3010 is
right,
copied.
17 right, 17 left. Advise.
Okay, lovely. Then let's go ahead and call for clearance. Orlando delivery, Southwest 2976, information hotel, request clearance to Providence.
One second while I grab the paperwork.
Hard at work, it seems.
Southwest 2976, clear to Providence via the Fast 3 departure. Then as filed, climb and maintain 4000, expect flight level 37010 minutes after departure. Departure on 119.4, squawk 4156, expect runway 17 right.
Southwest 2976, clear to Providence via the Phase 3 departure. Via transition, initial climb 4000, departure 119.4. Departure frequency is a correction, squawk 4156 and runway 17 right.
Southwest 2976, read back correct.
So 4000, 19.4, we can tune that down here as a reminder. .4, then we have a squawk of 4156. And runway 17 right, Phase 3 is both confirmed. Cool.
Welcome aboard Southwest Airlines Flight 2976, heading to Providence. Make sure you take your seats according to your boarding passes, yeah? Stow your hand luggage in the overhead bins or under the seats in front of you. If you need any help, just shout out to us crew members. We're here, I guess, so buckle up and enjoy the ride or whatever.
Very motivated cabin crew member, I gotta say. Alright, let's start the briefing then. We're departing from Orlando 17 right via the Phase 3 departure. Initial 4000, 3000 keeps us safe in the area. Now, extra fuel and time, we basically don't have anything. Sounds good to me. So we are going to have no hotspots for our taxi routing. It might be a little bit complicated on the first look, but apart from that, nothing special really. So we can go all the way to the taxiway entry down here without an ATC clearance. Only thereafter we'll need clearance. So we can taxi straight to Echo 3 and then from here it'll be via whatever ATC instructs. We are below the maximum landing weight, so we can come back immediately. Engine out, sit straight at for 25 miles, pick up a holding over there. 3,000, 4,000, whatever you want is going to keep us safe. Now, immediate return, we're below the max landing weight, so that's not an issue. And I have nothing special or non-standard. Anything from your side? Nope. Wonderful. So with that, our briefing is completed. So what are they doing back there? Nothing. Seems all done. Well, that is a good thing actually, because then we can go ahead. We do already have the APU online, so let's do our performance figures. So 150,793, 150,493, 338,993, and 333,793. So 133.8 is going to be our zero fuel weight. That gives me a gross weight of 150.6, which is correct. Lovely, okay, then let's complete that and go for our departure. So KMCO. The runway will be 17 right on the full length. It's a dry runway. Now I've completely forgotten the weather, or at least the wind, so temperature was 32, no, certainly not Fahrenheit. 32 Celsius and 30.10. What was the wind again?
Conditions. Few cumulonimbus at 3200 feet. Scattered at 4400 feet. Scattered at 5000 feet. Broken at 5000 feet. Temperature 31. Dew point 23. Altimeter 3010. Density
Looks like we
altitude
tuned in
1800
just after
feet.
the winds, but no worries, they'll
Arriving
come.
runways 18 left, 17 right, 17 left.
While we're waiting for this, let's go
Departing
for
runways
landing.
18 right, 17 right, 17 left. Advise on initial contact. You have information hotel.
So Providence 23.
Orlando International Airport.
Make it
Information
wet,
hotel.
0 wind.
1753 Zulu. Wind 115 at 19 or gusting 28. Visibility 10. Sky conditions. Few cumulonimbus at 3200 feet. Scattered at 4400 feet.
Okay, so that's good enough for me. Let's just finish up the landing here. I don't actually remember any of those values, but let's just enter something random. We'll get a good guess. So flaps, well, 40 for the initial performance here, and here we go. VRF edition 5, calculate. Surprise, we can land. Who would have thought that that's possible? Well, let's go back to the takeoff figures. Flaps 5, takeoff 2, 31 degrees. So takeoff 2 at 31 and flaps 5. CG, where is it? 22.5. So trim 6.33 and the speeds 43, 43, 49, and that's all looking good. Alright. Excellent, so all that stuff is done. Then let's do the safety inspection checklist. And before start checklist, all the way down to the line, please. Now, of course, it would be very pretty if they actually had one for the Max available. Fortunately, I don't have it with me right now, so that's gonna be fine. Let's do the NG checklist, because I still know that one by heart. Flown the NG a lot more than the Max. So, services and shocks checked, maintenance status checked, battery on, electric hydraulic pumps on, landing gear lever down, ship's library checked, iris mode selectors, nav, gear pins, well, we're supposed to have them on board. Light test checked, oxygen test 100%, yaw damper on, nav transfer display switches normal and auto. Fuel 16.5 required, 16.9 on board, 4 pumps on, cabin utility IFE galley power on, emergency exit lights on, fast modes on, window heat on, air conditioner and pressurization packs auto bleeds on set, pressurization mode selector auto, instruments cross checked, auto brakes, RTO, hydraulics are normal, speed brake, down detent, park and brake set, start from cutter switch is normal, wheel fire warning checked, radius, radar and transponder, set standby, radar and aileron trims, 3 and 0, takeoff briefing, disgusting, PA to go, so let's say hello now. Ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel. In the name of Southwest, welcome aboard our Boeing 737-8 on our flight to Providence. Flight time today will be around 2 hours and 25 minutes. We'll do our best to pick up any of the delay that we have gathered. For the time being, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. If there is anything we can do for you to make it more comfortable, please don't hesitate to ask any of our charming cabin crew. Thank you for your attention, and once again, welcome aboard. Alright, PA completed, FMC CDU set, N1 and IS box. So, we have automatic and a reduced takeoff 2 at 31 degrees, speed 434349 set. Step trim 6.3. Set, performance weight and balance, sign send, phones are off, EFB, airplane mode and stowed, flutter windows and cockpit door. Are locked, doors to go. Alright, very good. Then let's tell our ground crew to prepare for the pushback. So ground flight, you can prepare the aircraft for pushback. Please let us know when we're ready. So do we have RAM frequency somewhere? Unless advised by ATIS, departure flights on initial contact with ground control using airside 1 and 3 use point 8. Alright, cool, we'll do that. Nothing in the briefing docs, but this is definitely a ramp over here, so we can push back just by contacting ramp. That will be fine. Alright, wonderful. So doors closed, passengers seated, and that's the before start checklist complete down to the line. So before start checklist below the line, please. Air complex off, anti-collision light on, parking brake set, and transponder all off. Before start checklist complete. All underground Southwest 2976, fully ready for pushback and startup.
Southwest 2976, Orlando ground, pushback and startup approved, tail northeast.
Pushback and startup approved, tail northeast, Southwest 2976. Okay, there is really only one way to push over here, so let's go. Brake is released, you're clear to push. And we will commence engine start straight away. It's a max, they will take a while. So, looks like there are still some chocks in position, so we'll just set that again for a moment. And then, let's see, system page, I think it's sim menu, ground support. Oh yeah, here they are, the chocks. And removed. Cool. So now our brake is released and you're clear to push.
Welcome aboard Southwest Airlines Flight 2976, heading to Providence. I'm Mary, your lead flight attendant, and we've got Captain Emmanuel up front and First Officer Amanda with us. Joining me are my lovely colleagues John, Sarah, and Dave.
Looks like this is not working.
Buckle up, yeah? Now about the safety stuff. To fasten your seatbelt, just pull the strap across your lap and click it in. To release it, lift the buckle. Easy peasy. If we lose cabin pressure, oxygen masks will drop down. Just pull one towards you.
Alright, so we are starting engines 2 and 1 in that sequence.
Don't worry about the kids. Just put yours on first. Swim vests are under your seat. Pull them out and put them on like a jacket if we end up in the water. Oh, and if we have to evacuate, leave your bags behind, alright? Emergency exits are here, here, and here. Just look around. And
waiting for oil
we're
pressure.
flying a B737 MAX 8, so enjoy the ride or whatever. Captain Emmanuel, the cabin is ready for departure.
That was a good one. That was a pretty good one. Alright, looks like push is already completed, huh? Well, brake set. Engine start is going to take a little while with those temperatures here. Here we go. So, self-test should perform momentarily. Yep, you can see it flickering a bit. So, the LEAP 1B engine runs quite a bit hotter than the CFM56. And 2 is also going to go quite a bit up higher, 70% or so. Starter cutout, monitor 2, starting 1. Takes long enough to start him, not going to lose any time over that. Once the red EGT line is gone, that's the engine startup complete. Okay, we've got N2, N1. Rotor motoring is in progress. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Alright, and she's got a pin in the hands. Beautiful. So, clear signal is received, even though we are still starting the engines. And here we go. So, valves in transit. Now I've got fuel. Oil pressure should rise a little bit earlier and one a little bit later. Apart from that, the engine start is quite okay. Okay, starter cutout, monitor 1. Well, that number 1 is almost stable. Okay, flight control check. Full up, full down, neutral. Full left, full right, neutral rudder, full left, full right, neutral. After start checklist. Generators on, APU off, start switches continuous, draw beat on, anti-ice off, air conditioning, PAX auto, bleeds on, isolation valve, auto, flaps, 5 required, 5 selected and the green light, step trim 6.3 required set, start levers idly 10, flight controls checked, recall checked, before taxi checklist complete. Okay, so we can move to the front of the ramp on our own. But I'll tell you what, in the real world ramp control will tell you something as well, so let's just go ahead and ask ourselves. Southwest 2976, request taxi.
Southwest 2976, pushback and startup approved, tail northeast.
Yeah, thank you. We are requesting taxi, Southwest 2976.
Southwest 2976, taxi to runway 17 right via Echo 3, Echo 2, Echo Hotel, Hotel 1.
Southwest 2976, taxi runway 17 right via Echo 3, Echo 2, Hotel, Hotel 1. Okay, so that's pretty much straight out over here, and then Echo, Hotel, Hotel 1. Alright, quite an easy taxi route, let's go. Brake released, clear right side, clear left side. So, it starts rolling on its own, exactly like a Max should do. Let's add a little bit of thrust just to get moving, and config check. It's actually looking good. Okay, so we follow the taxiway all the way to the exit of the apron and then off to the left-hand side onto Echo. I like how the engines are so slow to react to our inputs. Like when we did the config check, they basically didn't react at all. That's pretty much how it is in the real 737 as well. The only thing that they could do a little bit better is when you return the engines back to idle thrust, they should run down a little bit quicker. But nonetheless, it's something. So the right side is clear, left side is clear. So left on Echo. So 10 knots around the turn, clear on the left side. Alright, so default takeoff checklist down to the line please. Config checked, flaps 5, green light, step trim 6.3 units set. Takeoff briefing. It will be a left seat takeoff, runway 17 right, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure 2 with the bug up at 1500. We will be using LNAV and VNAV for the takeoff. So it's going to be PAX auto bleeds on, anti-ice off, and the sit is a left turn out, and initially on that radar lag climbing to 4000. We have no specials, nothing non-standard. Engine out straight ahead for 25 miles to pick up a holding somewhere over there in 3000. We can come back here, weather in Orlando is good, and we've got no specials. You have any questions on that? Nope. Wonderful. Then we're waiting for the cabin. Meep meep. Okay, cabin secure. Before takeoff checklist complete down to the line. So, left onto hotel, that's the second taxiway then. So here's Golf first, then hotel will be second. So strange to sit that low again. I don't think we've flown any airliner where we had a seating position this low in half a year or something. Basically since the MSFS release. We've only been flying Airbuses since then, or 777s, and in all of those you just sit a lot higher. Makes it very interesting to taxi the MAX. Very interesting indeed. I guess it's just something that just never gets old, is it? And of course we're doing the actual southwest here, going 30 knots all the way, but 30 and not faster than that. But look at that, it accelerates even beyond 30 in idle thrust, just like the real MAX would. And just like the real MAX, this one doesn't seem quite straight as well. I don't want to know who landed it last, but they might have bent the aircraft a little. Alright then, here we go. Arriving at the full length. Hotel 1. So, let's stop over here and now answer a question for me, please. 17 right, all correct. 18 right, what? Oh, we are definitely at 17 right though. So, I'm fine with that. Okay, so a tower is going to be 11845. Orlando Tower, Southwest 2976, ready for departure.
Southwest 2976, Orlando Tower, runway 17 right, winds 115 at 19er, gusting 28, RNAV case cleared for takeoff.
Out of the case, cleared for takeoff, Southwest 2976. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. Okay, cool. Before takeoff checklist below the line. So, MCP. Yes. How did that one go again? Transponder, TA array, MCP. Set, strobe lights on, landing lights on, before takeoff checklist complete. I think that was it. Something like that. Interesting. This is full input. Look at how we're skidding. FS2024 can do much better than that. Well, we do have sufficient runway available, so it shall not be a problem. Ready? Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. 80 knots, checked. V1, rotate. Man, it's windy. So, gear up. Positive rate. LNAV. So,
2976, contact departure.
contact departure, Southwest 2976. Orlando departure, Southwest 2976, passing 1,700, climbing 4,000. Flaps 1, speed checked. Flaps up.
Southwest
Speed checked.
2976, Orlando departure, radar contact, climb via the SID.
Climb via the SID, Southwest 2976. Okay, vertical speed 2000 and speed 250, please. Set vertical speed 1000. To go. Command A, and heading 140, please. Heading. So, flaps up, no lights. I guess we'll wait a little bit with our cabin crew until we're past the clouds. Probably going to stay on the heading until we're well clear of the city and the immediate area. But nonetheless, let's ask him if we can fly direct to Buffy. Southwest 2976, can we proceed to Buffy?
Southwest 2976. Proceed direct to Buffy.
Proceed direct to Buffy, Southwest 2976. Alright, LNAV available. LNAV. And after takeoff checklist, please. Air condition and pressurization. Is set. And altimeters. QNH 3010. After takeoff checklist complete. Let's just talk to the cabin for a second. So, what is she called again? Mary, are you here? Mary, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here, Captain. Just, making sure everyone's seated and stuff. Cabin crew, take seats for departure.
Okay, thank you very much. We will keep you seated for a little bit longer, as it is a little bit turbulent up here and as we're stuck at a lower altitude, so don't be surprised.
Got it, Captain. Cabin crew, take seats for landing.
No? We'll leave that uncommented. Southwest 2976, request further climb.
Southwest 2976, climb and maintain flight level 370.
Climb and maintain flight level 370, Southwest 2976. Set, 370 checked, VNAV. Okay, set standard. Oh, that was a good chunk of lightning there. Nothing on the weather radar though. Probably not simulated, I guess. Okay, so flight level 370, set once, set twice, and 3 times. Monitoring 1 to 1.5. Good. So we're clear to above flight level 150. Then we can delete the climb derate and hopefully get through the weather a little bit faster. Can remove the clock since our elapsed timer down here is running. And since the engines are no longer in takeoff thrust. So let's ask the important question. 2051 versus a flight plan of 2025. Okay, so be it. I guess we can't really do much about it, can we? Cruise is already planned at 0.92 or 0.792 that way around. So, yeah, 4.8 on arrival. I don't really want to burn much more than I absolutely have to as well. It's gonna be fine this way. So, altimeters. Passing 10,000, climbing 370, 10 checks. Fuel balanced, 4 pumps on, lights. Keep them on since we're in the States. Signs also remain on, aircon and press is set. And 3.0 should be more like 4.0 differential pressure when going through 10,000.
Just a quick note to let you know that you can now use
But
your
that's fine
electronic
with me.
devices, eh? So,
Okay, apart from
feel
that,
free to get those out and,
signs remain
do whatever
on,
you need to
recall,
do. Oh, and just a heads
check,
up, the onboard
and
Wi-Fi service is available now if you want to connect.
monitoring.
Enjoy the flight or whatever.
Alright. Cool, so with that, we're up and on the way. Then I tend to say, I see you all a little bit later when we start our approach into Providence. Alright, we're closing in on the top of the
Southwest
descent.
2976, Washington Center. Contact New York Center on 128.3.
Getting handover after handover,
Washington, New York Center on 128.3, Southwest 2976.
which our first officer is handling absolutely perfectly. Let's use the time to find the charts for our arrival.
New York Center, Southwest 2976. Good afternoon, maintaining flight level 390.
Southwest 2976, New York Center. Good afternoon.
So, the ATIS is on 124.2. Let's go ahead and have a listen. If that would work, which apparently it doesn't. Okay, well, in that case, we gotta have to ask ATC. New York, Southwest 2976. Which runway can we expect in Providence?
Southwest 2976. Expect runway 23 at Providence.
Roger. Okay, nice. So runway 23 it is. Then let's go ahead and add this one to the clip as well. And last but not least, I'm also going to get ourselves the parking stands, if there is any. Nope, it's on the main chart. Okay, fair enough. Happy with that. So the Jordan 2 arrival is a fairly easy one. We've already been cleared for it. And we're going to proceed from Ham to Jordan. Expect to cross in 11,000. Expect means it may or may not be part of the arrival restrictions. And over here it isn't, which is fine. We'll rely on ATC on that one to see if they're going to give it to us or not. And then we have Mink and thereafter heading 015, and that's exactly what we've got in here as well. And it's going to be radar vectors for the ILS approach in runway 23, so let's find that one. So we're starting at Cusca in 1900. Let's have a look. We do even have that strange waypoint in here, wherever that comes from. Fine with me. So let's see. Started Cusca in 1900, 3-degree glide slope, that's correct. And that one goes down to a minimum of 250, so let's dial that one up. There we go, 250 is pre-selected. Alright, and in case I missed approach, climb to 700, climbing right into 2500 on 350 degrees heading, and outbound on Providence VOR radial 321 to Fosti intersection and hold. Okay, so that's a fairly easy one. Let's see, straight out to 700, then heading 350, the intercept, 321 into Fosti, climbing to 2500 feet, and that's all in here. Lovely. Easy going then. So for the descent, 0.793/279, I tell you what, we're gonna make that 300 knots on the conversion, just because we can. And then 250/10,000 for the descent. For the forecast, let's go ahead and get ourselves a data link request, and in the meantime I'm going to annoy air traffic control. Southwest 2976 requests the weather report for Providence. Do that in the real New York and they will be happy. I can promise you that much.
Southwest 2976, Theodore Francis Green State Airport, information Romeo. Wind 250 at 15 gusting 23. Visibility 10. Few clouds at 4500 feet. Few at 6,000 feet. Temperature 26, 2.14. Altimeter 3000. Arriving and departing runways 2334.
Alright, sounds good. So, the data link is here as well. Our first officer should answer the call.
Southwest 2976, cleared Jordan to arrival into Providence.
Clear Jordan 2 arrival into Providence, Southwest 2976.
So, /114/10/4, since the weather is good. And that's pretty much everything. So, we'll do the rest during the briefing, then let's go ahead and...
Southwest 2976, descend and maintain flight level 280.
Descend and maintain flight level 280, Southwest 2976.
Okay, down we go. So, set 280 checked. Alright, cool. Then let's dial up the basics. 227 is going to be the course.
Alright folks, just a heads up. We've left our cruising altitude and are starting our approach to Providence. So, everyone needs to return to your seats, stow the tables and buckle up. Oh, and no more using the lavatories, alright? Thanks for your cooperation or whatever.
I would really say Our Lady needs a little bit of motivation to learn her PAs. That does not sound very...
Southwest 2976, descend and maintain 17,000.
Descend and maintain 17,000, Southwest 2976.
Set 17,000 checked. Set QNH. QNH 3000 cross check, passing level 38 or passing 38,000 now. Okay, so let's go for the approach briefing, please. And I'll tell you what, we'll just insert the rest as well here. So 4.6, that means we burn 1.7, which is 138.5. So flaps 30. Auto brakes, let's just have a look at the ground chart. Yeah, okay. That's plenty of runway available. So auto brakes 2 is gonna do the job. Alright, cool. So let's go for the briefing. Arriving into Providence via the Jordan 2 arrival. ILS approach runway 23, the minimum is 500. I have no clue why. Here it is, okay. So minimum is 250, go around straight at 700, right turn, intercept radial 321 outbound Providence VOR, climbing 2,500, and extra fuel and time. Let's see, we got 4.8 and the minimum is 4.2, so that's about 10 minutes extra fuel. So it's going to be a flap 30 approach with the flight directors on, and we will use idle reverse auto brakes 2 to vacate the runway to the right hand side. There is no hotspot for the taxi, and stop margin should be about 300 meters. Taxi to somewhere over here. Something around the ramp. Any question on that? No hotspots, no threats, and that's it. Right, then descent checklist please. Pressurization, landing altitude 0, annuize, off, approach bring fuel, discussed, IS and outbox checked and set. Descent checklist complete. And I will quickly say goodbye to our passengers. Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. We've started our descent to Providence, remaining flight time now in the region of approximately 25 minutes. The weather in Providence, a little bit gusty at the moment, some clouds, but otherwise very good weather. We hope you all enjoyed your flight with Southwest Airlines. We look forward to welcoming you again in the future. In the meantime, wish you a nice and safe continuous journey and hope to see you again in the future. Thank you very much for your attention, and we hope to see you again soon. Alright, then let's go right into the approach.
Alright folks, we're on our final approach into Providence now. So it's time to turn off your electronic devices and stow them away until we get to the gate. Please put your tray tables up and make sure your seats are in the full upright position. Buckle up, yeah? Just a reminder, once we land, the Southwest Airlines staff will be around to give you info about your connecting flights. So, thanks for that. Crew, check that everyone's seated and has their seatbelts fastened. Captain, cabin is ready.
Alright, thank you very much for that. Now, ATC has advised us that we can expect the visual approach on runway 23 in Providence. The airport is in sight just down here, and I think the visual approach is actually a great opportunity to practice doing that again, since it's been a really long while since we've flown a visual approach in commercial airline ops. Now, I'm not 100% sure yet as to whether it's going to be a left or a right visual. For now, we have heading 030. But in any case, we can already get that speed brake down and get ourselves ready for the approach. So let's quickly
Southwest
talk...
2976, turn right heading 055.
Turning right heading 055. Southwest 2976.
Alright, I guess that was a clear signal as to whether it's going to be a left or a right downwind. So heading 055, then it's going to be a left downwind for runway 23. Now, down there is the airport, should be a fairly easy one. We're a little bit high at the moment, so we might have to extend the approach by a couple miles, but that should really not be too much of an issue. Now, you can have the VSD over here, and we do still have the 10 checks to do, so let's do them first. Fuel is balanced with 4 pumps on, lights on, angular bank 25, air conditioner and pressurization is at 2.3 descending and set, fast modes on, recall checked. Okay, 21.5 can remain on, heading to prepare for landing. Alright, and that's the 10 checks completed, so let's do the approach checklist. All meters and instruments, trust checked, approach rates checked and set, approach checklist complete. So, fairly easy going. I wish the speed brakes were that effective on the real 737. They may be a little bit strong here on the iFly. So, field is clearly in sight. $1,000 to go. So, vertical speed. Let's start slowing down here. Flaps 1. Speed checks. Flaps 1. Southwest 2976, field in sight. All require. Flaps 5. Speed checks.
Southwest 2976, say again.
Southwest 2976, field in sight, request visual approach. Come on.
Southwest 2976, cleared for the visual approach,
Here we
runway
go.
23 at
Get
Providence.
out for 15.
Cleared for the visual approach, runway 23 at Providence. Southwest 2976.
Okay, flight directors off. Or rather, recycle flight directors. Ground altitude 2500 is set. Auto throttle off. So set runway track. 227, here we go.
2500.
Checked. So there is our field. Are a little bit low at the moment. Let's help ourselves. So the cabin should be secure by now. Right, Cusco on top. That's looking good. And flaps 30. Speed checked, flaps 30. VRF plus 5 is set. Then we can turn final. Alright, landing checklist. Start switches, continuous, recall. Check, speed brake, arm green light, landing gear down 3 green, auto brake 2 set, flaps 30, 30, green light, and holding at landing lights.
Southwest 2976, contact Providence Tower on 120.7.
Contacting Providence Tower on 120.7, Southwest 2976.
So we'll let our first officer handle the radios here, because we are busy doing other things.
Providence Tower, Southwest 2976. Good afternoon. We're established on the visual approach for runway 23.
Southwest 2976, Providence Tower, winds 250 at 15, gusting 23, runway 23, cleared to land.
Cleared to land runway 23, Southwest 2976.
Okay, that's checked. Couple of gusts. Let's add 5 knots to the approach speed. 151, and we're clear to land. So landing lights on, landing checklist complete. Okay, speed check, correcting. Those are the gusts they talked about. And a little downdraft.
Approaching minimums.
Checked.
Minimums.
Continue.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Very nice. So, speed back up, thruster is normal. And that's about idle reverse. 100 knots. $80 knots. Manual brakes. 60 knots. And here we go. Welcome to Providence.
Switching to ground on 121.9er, Southwest 2976.
I like the activism of my first officer. She's showing the initiative, huh?
Welcome to Providence, folks. Just a couple of fun facts
Providence
for you.
ground,
Did you know
Southwest
that Providence is home
2976,
to the first
afternoon.
American
We're clear of
circus?
runway 23 and ready to
and it's
taxi
also
to the
known for its
gate.
delicious coffee milk. So, thanks for flying with us today.
Southwest
Just a reminder to stay
2976,
seated until
Providence
we reach
ground,
the final
taxi to
parking
19A
position.
via Mike
Alright?
2, Mike Charlie
Captain
Tango.
Emmanuel
Good
and
day.
the whole crew would like to say goodbye to you now. The
Runway
local
19
time here
Alpha,
is
Mike 2,
4:44
Mike
PM.
Charlie Tango,
Cheers.
Southwest 2976.
So, we're on the mics right now. Then we continue via Charlie and Tango. So Mike, Charlie, Tango to the ramp. That's fine, I can do that. Not sure why they don't just send it directly onto Tango, but okay. They will have an idea. So, with that out of the mind, let's go ahead and tidy this one up. Come on, speed, you should have dumped down to 100. Alright, looking good. That's the after landing items complete. So, Charlie is next to the left. We do have 3 minutes. I'll just take it around the turn, let it accelerate again, and then we'll shut down engine number 2. Okay, shut down 2. Airlock is copied. GSX is broken once again. So, going to gate 19, so that means we'll go to the right on our Tango and then around the corner to 19 over there. Let's do one more attempt at getting GSX to load. Nope. Broken pile of beep. So, clear on the right side. So look at how slowly the engine is reacting when it's coming out of idle. So only you know now, yeah, it does slowly accelerate. And here we go, above 30%, really quick. So everything's clear on both sides. Okay, start APU. So, around the corner and then the second gate on the left hand side. I think we'll need thrust one more time, just to be sure we don't accidentally stop within the turn. So, gate 21 over here. Now entering the ramp. And here we go, number 19. So, lights off. Of course, no ground staff. What else should happen, huh? Okay, so a couple more centimeters. And I think this is good. So, parking brake set, APU on bus and shut down. Having crew to some slides and cross-check. All right. And we've got both engines below 20%. All right, transit shutdown checklist, please. Electrical on APU, fast modes off, window heat, auto, anti-ice off, air conditioning, PAX auto, bleeds on, isolation valve on, exterior lights, steady, start switches off, auto brake off, speed brakes down 10, flaps up, no light, parking brake set, start levers cut off, weather radar off, transponder, 2000 standby, CB in, cockpit door unlocked, shutdown checklist complete. So, is anything gonna happen now? Of course not, huh? So, shocks in position and the ground power is coming. Alright, parking brake is released. Well, my friends, that's it. Our first flight with the iFly 737 MAX in FS2024. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. A couple of smaller things every here and there, but lots of fun to fly, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. In the meantime, if you liked our ATC, then be sure to check out Say Intentions AI using the link in the video description below. Be sure to check out the iFly Max, and of course, once again, thank you to IndyBuilds for providing us with this lovely scenery of Rhode Island, Providence Airport, just in time for the FS Expo. So thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.